All right, so we have some Republicans stepping up to the plate to potentially challenge Donald Trump in 2024. This is pretty interesting. So this is in the Hill. Adam Kinzinger says he would love to run against Trump in 2024. They say Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger said in a new interview that he would love to run against former President Trump in a GOP primary election. Kinzinger, who announced last year that he would not seek re-election, told HuffPost that he might run to be the Republican nominee for president in 2024. And when asked if he would like to face off against Trump, he replied, quote, "I would love it. I really would. Even if he crushed me," a little bit of self-awareness there, because he would, like in a primary, to be able to stand up and call out the garbage is just a necessary thing. Regardless of who it is, I think it'd be fun. Adam Kinzinger added Kinzinger. Trump is expected by many to run for president again. It's almost a guarantee now, if he makes it that far. Kinzinger also spoke about the likelihood he will run for the White House, explaining, quote, "I'll make a decision when we get there. If there's a need and a desire, it's truly not anything I'm planning right now, but I'm not going to rule it out." Look, if we're in a position, if it's just terrible candidates and the country's in a worse place, maybe. But there's no grand plan right now, the Illinois representative added. Kinzinger, who had been a vocal critic of Trump and voted to impeach the former president, did say for certain that he does not want to run for a seat in the House again, telling HuffPost he is exhausted. He also explained that he doesn't know what's next in his career, but is open to several possibilities. Quote, "I don't know, maybe I would have run for governor, maybe I would have run for Senate, who knows? But yeah, my time in the House is mercifully coming to an end." So Kinzinger is very vocally anti-Trump, but here's the thing that corporate media never tells you. When you look at people like Kinzinger, or like Liz Cheney, for example, who really goes after Trump a lot on the January 6th stuff and the Stop the Steal stuff and the election rigged conspiracy stuff. Now, by the way, Kinzinger's right about that. Liz Cheney's right about that. Trump is wrong about that. But having said that, when you look at their voting record, their records are almost universally, like over 90% voting with Donald Trump. So the thing that frustrates me is when the media lionizes these people like they're heroes, they're normalizing really terrible policies. Because if you're saying to the crowd, like, hey, these are the good Republicans, Trump is the bad Republican, then basically the message you're sending is it's okay to vote for every single war, to vote for endless deregulation, to vote for tax cuts for the rich, to be super socially conservative. You're saying that that voting record is not a problem. That voting record is not condemnable or disagreeable. And that's what I hate about this. It's like, look, you can dislike both Trump and Kinzinger and Cheney. I assure you that's possible. You can vehemently disagree with both of them. Now, look, I'm a fan of nuance. So I love the idea that you get into specifics and you say, hey, on the issue of January 6th, yes, Kinzinger and Cheney are correct. Okay, great. But that doesn't whitewash the over 90% similar voting record. So let me give you some more information on this because we're getting more and more information about who might run against Trump in 2024. So this is from The Hill. Now, this is an older article from December 29, 2021. The 10 Republicans most likely to run for president. So let's go through this a little bit, and then I'll give you a more updated article with some people who, at this point, are the most likely to run against Trump. So this is, the older article says, Trump, of course, might run. He's made that almost perfectly clear now. Ron DeSantis, it is a possibility that Ron DeSantis runs, but he has a very difficult line to walk here because a lot of the Trump people have DeSantis as their second favorite. So he needs to find a way to like appeal to the Trump people while also expanding the tent and appealing to like moderates and non-Trump people. So, and that's a very difficult thing to do. And I don't know if anybody could do it, to be honest. It would take, would be politically masterful to be able to walk that line. Now, if Trump doesn't run, then he's situated beautifully, and he could take like the Glenn Youngkin path. Glenn Youngkin was like not too pro-Trump, but not too anti-Trump, and he was able to get some of the Trump people on board and then non-Trump people on board, and that's why he won in Virginia. So we'll see. DeSantis, really his best bet is just Trump not running, or in the future when Trump doesn't run, for him to run. Then we have Mike Pence. Mike Pence and Trump now despise each other. They hate each other. It'll be very interesting to see the reception from the base towards Mike Pence, given the fact that they love Trump, but also low-key, they used to love Mike Pence, and Mike Pence's voting record and his social conservatism, honestly, is more in line with the base than Trump's was. But Trump is the ultimate, like, feels over reels for the base because, they know that this guy's not like an evangelical Christian, but for whatever reason, the evangelical Christians probably love him way more than they love Donald Trump. So it would be fascinating to see Mike Pence versus Donald Trump in a primary. Trump would almost certainly win, but it would be interesting to see that. But I doubt it's going to happen. Pence is probably smart enough to not get involved if Trump is there. Chris Christie, okay, that's another one who might run. We're going to come back to him. Nikki Haley's another one. Ted Cruz is another one. Ted Cruz and Nikki Haley, I believe they've hinted, I'm probably not going to do it if Trump runs. Mike Pompeo, that's another one who's been making moves. Now, I don't know if he'd run against Trump, but he's certainly doing all the things behind the scenes that would indicate he wants to run for president. That would be hilarious. Mike Pompeo has like 3 fans, and they're all in his family. And probably one of the 3 isn't even going to vote for him. So I don't know what he's thinking. Kristi Noem might run. Tom Cotton, oh my God. Tom Cotton has the personality of a dirty diaper. The guy has somehow managed to create negative charisma. Like, he is the opposite of charismatic. Like, it is impossible to like that guy when he talks. Okay, then we got Larry Hogan. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here because this other article, now this is the one where it's like, I think these people will likely run against Trump. Anti-Trump Republicans lining up for 2024 shadow primary. Here we go. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is planning trips to Iowa and New Hampshire. That's a key sign that he's going to run. That's a key sign. Representative Adam Kinzinger is considering a rough timeline for a potential presidential announcement, and allies of Representative Liz Cheney are openly talking up her White House prospects. Come on, man. More than 2 years before the next presidential election, a shadow primary is already beginning to take shape among at least 3 fierce Republican critics of former President Donald Trump to determine who is best positioned to occupy the anti-Trump lane in 2024. Their apparent willingness to run, even if Trump does, as is widely expected, represents a shift from previous years when never-Trump operatives failed to recruit any GOP office holders to challenge the incumbent president. But with the 2024 contest almost in view, the question is no longer whether one of Trump's prominent Republican critics will run, but how many will mount a campaign and how soon they will announce. Those close to Cheney, Hogan, and Kinzinger expect one of them, if not more, to launch a presidential bid after the 2022 midterms. While all 3 are nationally known, to some degree, their goal would not necessarily be to win the presidency. Oh, I love this. Now we got the right looking for moral victories in the same way that, unfortunately, the left has to every time we do anything. Above all, they want to hinder Trump's return to the White House, at least compared with 2020, when his allies cleared the field of any Republican opponents and persuaded some states to cancel primary contests altogether. That's crazy. Quote, it's there as an option, but it's not necessarily because this is all some big plan so I can be in the White House, Kinzinger told the Associated Press when asked about his timeline for deciding on a presidential run. It's looking and saying, is there going to be a voice out there that can represent from that megaphone the importance of defending this country and democracy and what America is about? There certainly, I'm sure within the next year or so, will be a point at which you have to make that decision. If it's not me doing anything, certainly we'll be all in for whoever can represent us. So one of these 3 is going to run. Maybe more than one of the 3 is going to run. Several Trump loyalists have emerged as on-again, off-again Trump critics are also eyeing GOP's next presidential nomination. Among them, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Chris Christie was Trump before Trump was Trump. But he was sort of weak and not aggressive early on in the campaign, and so he got trounced. And so maybe he'll get in now and try to be out-Trump Trump. I don't know, but that's going to be a hard thing to do. Then they mentioned Mike Pence, Ron DeSantis, et cetera, et cetera. Look, Trump has a hold on the base, and they go on to say about 7 in 10, look at this, about 7 in 10 Republicans said the former president should run for president again in 2024. So Trump still got the base. So look, what's going on here with this? In all seriousness, it's the virtue signal campaign. Like, if one of these anti-Trump Republican runs, or multiple of them run, they just said, we know we can't win. That's so sad, by the way. It's so sad. But it's the virtue signal campaign. And here's what I can guarantee you. The media will cream themselves. Like, the media will... Any Democratic candidate who runs on the left, whoever it might be, they will get 0.0001% of the love as the anti-Trump Republican running. You will hear the most insufferable rants in mainstream media like, oh, they're standing up for the glory of the Republican Party back when the Republican Party was responsible. Yes. You're going to hear stuff like that. And you're going to want to die. And you know what? I'm going to want to die too. That's all it is. It's the virtue signal campaign. Now, look, on the one hand, I want to give credit a little bit because truth is always a defense. And if the whole point of the campaign is to be like, this guy's a fucking idiot and January 6th was bad and the election wasn't stolen, www.getoverit.org, then I'll be like, all right, look, they're right about that shit. But like I said before, their voting records are over 90% with Trump. So there's not much to disagree on. The only thing they really disagree on is this guy is crass and rude and has no filter and makes the country look dumb. Like he's a terrible representative of us. So, okay, fair. But then also just, you lost the election, get over it. You lost the 2020 election. You can't base a whole campaign on just that shit. Like you can't do it. So if they say the right things, okay, I'll give credit, but it's super tepid because you're not going to win. You know you're not going to win. And the media is going to suck you off so hard and it's just going to be unbearable to watch. And by the way, here's the problem with a run like this. It will have the opposite of the intended effect. If the intended effect is, let's chip away at 4%, 5%, 8%, 12% of the Republicans who were with Trump and open their eyes and say, you can't be with him because of reasons X, Y, and Z. No, what's going to happen is they're all going to circle the wagons around Trump. And he's going to have even more supporters because they're going to look at this as like, look, the establishment is coalescing to try to take down Trump. You got Democrats against him, and you got these no good rhino Republicans against him. And so they will use that as further evidence to support him. So that's where we are. But look, Larry Hogan, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, one of them or multiple of them will run for president, and it'll be a clown show, that's for sure. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.